Week 12 is in the books. So that means it's time to hit those waiver wires to find players that could add value to the back end of your rosters. And quick note, I am going to be referencing rostership percentages in this video, and those are coming from roster data from 1,700 Dynasty leagues on myfantasyleague.com. Basically a 50-50 split of one quarterback in Superflex, all with a minimum of 20-man rosters. So I'm not pulling these players out of nowhere, but it is possible that some or even all of these guys are already rostered in your leagues. But for the most part, there are hundreds of Dynasty leagues out there right now where these guys are available on waivers. First and foremost, I want to highlight a couple of players that are highly rostered, but not exactly 100% rostered that I think need to be. And that includes Jeff Wilson, running back for the Miami Dolphins, Rico Dowdle, running back for the Dallas Cowboys, A.T. Perry, wide receiver for the New Orleans Saints, Cedric Tillman, wide receiver for the Cleveland Browns, and Juwan Johnson, tight end for the New Orleans Saints. Again, all these guys are very highly rostered in over 95% of Dynasty leagues out there, but not exactly 100%. So double check your waiver wires and immediately add these guys if they are available. Hey guys, I just wanted to let y'all know that our biggest sale of the year begins now. The 2023 annual DLF Cyber Week sale is the best way to get a full year of DLF Premium membership at 30% off of the normal subscription price for only $34.99. The sale is running right now through the end of Cyber Week on Friday, December 1st. So take advantage of the Cyber Week sale. Simply hit the link in the description below and make sure to use the coupon code CYBER2023 for a full year of DLF Premium at 30% off. All right, week 12 brought us more quarterback injuries, this time to Dorian Thompson-Robinson, who was ruled out with a concussion injury. So back into the starting role now for the Cleveland Browns is PJ Walker. Now, Walker was not great this week, only 56 passing yards on a 50% completion percentage, and was also sacked 4 times. But Denver's defense has been very good against opposing quarterbacks, so it kind of is what it is this week and is kind of half game playing for the Browns. But we have seen Walker do decently well this year with 250 yards and a touchdown against Seattle, a 190-yard passing game against San Francisco, albeit he did throw 4 interceptions in both of those games combined. But he is a starting quarterback who can offer solid passing numbers plus good rushing ability too, and if he throws a touchdown or two to Amari Cooper, David Njoku, Elijah Moore, that's a good double-digit point game, which might be better than most positional players in your super flex spot instead. The Browns do get the Rams this week, who just gave up 250 passing yards, 1 passing touchdown, and 1 rushing touchdown to Kyler Murray. So PJ Walker might not be the worst start in the world this week if you are that desperate at the quarterback position. The other quarterback injury this week was an ankle injury for Baker Mayfield, who only missed a play or two and did ultimately finish out the game. But if Baker Mayfield were to miss any time whatsoever, Kyle Trask is the backup in Tampa Bay and is a complete unknown as an NFL talent. That could be a really bad thing, or it could be a pleasant surprise and offer maybe Gardner Minshew level upside or possibly even more as a backup in Tampa Bay. Now, he did only throw 1 pass this week in Baker Mayfield's stead, but it was a very beautiful pass that Chris Godwin just wasn't able to hold on to in the back of the end zone. But Trask's ball placement there was insane on that one throw.
I mean, he does throw it with good timing when his back foot hits, but that is as good as ball placement as you could possibly get.
But again, this injury could just be a pain management thing for Baker Mayfield. He could be completely fine for the rest of the year, never miss a game. But if that ankle injury lingers or possibly gets re-aggravated at any point during the remainder of the year, Kyle Trask could be a nice pickup now on the cheap or even free before the week that he actually takes over and everybody's now spending their fab to get him. So beat the waiver wire and add Kyle Trask if you have an extra roster spot. And the last quarterback to mention again is Tommy DeVito, who turned in another decent performance this week against the New England Patriots. Now, it wasn't a 3-touchdown day like he had last week, but 191 yards, a passing touchdown, no interceptions, a 68% completion percentage. That's not bad given the Giants team right now. And that's 12 fantasy points as a back-end QB2 on the week, with a very similar score this week as guys like Baker Mayfield, Brock Purdy, Kenny Pickett, Derek Carr, Bryce Young, Geno Smith, and even outscored Tua Tagovailoa. And look, I get that these numbers aren't crazy for a quarterback in fantasy, but they are completely serviceable as a back-end QB2 in your superflex spot if you're really desperate, and could potentially be a better option than deeper skill players that you might roster on your bench. Now, the Giants are on bye this week, so DeVito is not going to help you in week 13, but he could be a better stash now if he's available in case of more quarterback injuries in the coming weeks. Speaking of great stashes, Royce Freeman is a fantastic handcuff stash at the running back position for the rest of the season. Despite Kyren Williams returning to action this week, Freeman still saw 13 carries for 77 yards and scored a touchdown as the 40% guy of a 60-40 split with Kyren Williams. Now, I do have to mention a couple of things here with Royce Freeman's usage usage this week. Number one, Kyron was substantially better with his carries, rushing for almost 150 yards and also scored twice through the air. Number two, Freeman is still not getting any work in the receiving game whatsoever. He has one target all year long, so there is no upside or floor with Royce Freeman from the receiving game. And then number three, the Rams just completely destroyed the Arizona Cardinals this week, so there's no need to push Kyron Williams in his first game back. And Freeman's touchdown did come in the fourth quarter when they were already up 23 after Kyron Williams had already scored twice. I honestly view Freeman's usage this week as similar to Zach Moss's usage early on when Jonathan Taylor was being worked into action, which, as we all know now, Moss is entirely an afterthought behind Jonathan Taylor. There is no competition whatsoever. You are not starting Zach Moss as a flex consideration with standalone value. And I expect that same thing to happen in LA, where Kyron Williams is going to build up more and more. He's going to get more snaps, more touches as the week goes on as he removes himself further on from his injury, leaving Royce Freeman as strictly a handcuff with no standalone value. But that's honestly totally fine because I want to add Royce Freeman as a handcuff. He has shown that he is the trusted RB2 in this Rams offense, and he has produced very well in that role. If anything were to happen to Kyron Williams going forward, Freeman would be a valuable fantasy RB2 for those weeks as the starter in this Rams offense. And lastly, I once again want to highlight Jalen Guyton, who I've now highlighted for 3 weeks in a row now, but his rostership percentage just remains so low that he is still available in a ton of dynasty leagues out there. He is a great add right now as the potential wide receiver 2 in this offense, with upside to be the wide receiver 1 if Keenan Allen's shoulder injury takes a turn for the worse at any point this season to end the year, since none of the other Chargers receiving weapons have stepped up at all to fill Mike Williams' shoes, and Palmer is still on IR. Guyton did have 5 targets in the Sunday night game, which was third on the team behind Keenan Allen and Gerald Everett, and he could be a very valuable piece to a contender's roster as a high upside flex option in this offense. And dare I say, he could be this year's Jarrett McKinnon, but at the wide receiver position? You never know. You could pick him up off of waivers right now just to find out. But if you're a Dynasty football player and you are not subscribed to this channel, please do so, as we are continuing to drop Dynasty-specific content all season long as we get into 2024 in the offseason and rookie season as well. So please consider subscribing if you are not already. And if you haven't watched it yet, I posted a video talking through my favorite end-of-season buys for a playoff push, which you guys can check out that video right up here.